Life doesn't ask, it strikes. No warning, no countdown, no mercy. One moment you're standing, the next you're on the ground trying to understand what just happened. And when life hits, people watch. Not to help you, not to save you. They watch to see if you break. Because breaking is familiar, breaking makes them comfortable. Breaking confirms their excuses. This is the moment you meet the real you. Not when things are calm, not when it's easy, but when chaos rips the mask off your face. This is the forge. You think pain is punishment. You think suffering means you failed. Wrong. Pain is the fire. Pressure is the process. And the process is ruthless for a reason. Fire doesn't ask if you're ready. Fire reveals what's real. Weakness survives in comfort. Pressure destroys it. And if you're hurting right now, if everything feels heavy, unstable, unfair, it's not because something went wrong. It's because something is being exposed. You didn't fall because you were unlucky. You fell because the version of you that existed until now was not built to go further. That version reached its limit, and instead of upgrading, most people panic. They run. They numb themselves. They look for distractions. They look for someone to blame. They call avoidance healing. They call retreat self-care. That's not healing. That's fear with better branding. You were not built for a soft life. You were not designed to stay comfortable. You were built to adapt under pressure, and adaptation begins with a brutal truth. No one is coming, not your friends, not your family, not your partner, not your mentors, not the universe, not even God, until you move. Help follows decision, not the other way around. And life is watching you right now, not to save you, to measure you. Every closed door, every rejection, every time you were ignored, dismissed, overlooked. That wasn't rejection. That was redirection. You were being stripped of approval, stripped of dependency, stripped of the need to be chosen. Because the life you say you want cannot be built by someone who needs permission. You were never meant to fit in. You were never meant to be liked. You were never meant to be understood early. You were meant to stand alone long enough to become undeniable. Loneliness is not punishment. It is preparation. This is where excuses die. This is where discipline is born. This is where you learn to move without applause. You fell. Good. Falling is not failure, staying down is. And staying down is always a choice. It's choosing comfort over growth, choosing familiarity over evolution, choosing who you were over who you must become. Rising doesn't require confidence, it requires decision. You don't rise when you feel ready. You rise when you're shaking, when your voice cracks, when your hands tremble, when everything inside you says stop and you move anyway. That is strength. Strength is not loud. Strength is commitment under pressure. Right now, this is the test, and tests don't announce themselves. They show up as exhaustion, as confusion, as loss, as silence. Silence where support used to be. Silence where validation used to live. And in that silence, most people collapse. They complain. They blame. They negotiate with life. Warriors adapt. They bleed if they must. They crawl if they must. But they do not surrender direction. Because direction matters more than speed. The world wants you quiet, comfortable, distracted, dependent, small enough to manage, busy enough not to think, tired enough not to resist. And if you whisper long enough, you stay there. But if you endure, that whisper becomes a roar. Not overnight, not dramatically, relentlessly. They thought you were weak. They assumed you'd stay broken. They mistook your silence for defeat. They were wrong. You were recalibrating. Beginnings are not gentle. They are violent. Rebirth hurts because something old is being torn out. This is your violent rebirth. And make no mistake, the world will resist you. They'll call you intense, unstable, too much. That's how resistance sounds when you stop obeying. Let them talk. Every word they throw at you is proof that you are no longer controllable. You are not here to survive. You are here to impose order on chaos, to walk through hell and come out carrying fire. Straighten your posture, fix your focus, move like someone who has seen the bottom, and refuse to live there. This is not your end. This is the ignition. Now understand this. The hit was only the beginning. Pain was the invitation. Fire is where the separation happens. This is the phase most people never survive. Because fire doesn't just hurt. Fire reveals. It shows you exactly who you are when excuses are gone. And this is where reality splits people in two. On one side, those who retreat. On the other, those who transform. Most people quit here. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. They lower their standards, they adjust their dreams, they tell themselves a softer story so they can sleep at night. They say things like, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I should be more realistic. Maybe I should slow down. That's not wisdom. That's fear negotiating for control. The fire exposes how addicted people are to comfort. They don't want growth. They want relief. But relief never builds power. Relief builds dependency. Fire demands something different. Fire demands decision, not motivation, not emotion, decision. Because in fire, motivation dies fast. Emotion burns out. Only commitment remains. This is where you stop pretending. You stop pretending you're confused. You stop pretending you don't know what to do. You stop pretending you need permission. You already know. You've always known. What you lacked wasn't clarity, it was courage. And courage is forged here. Pressure forces honesty. You see the habits that are killing you. The people draining you. The routines keeping you small. And now you can't unsee it. That's why this phase hurts more than the fall, because ignorance was comfortable. Awareness is heavy. Once you see the truth, you either rise to it or you spend your life running from it. This is where discipline enters. Not the fake discipline people post online. Not inspiration, not hype. Real discipline. The kind that shows up when no one is watching. The kind that cuts things out. The kind that says no. Fire teaches subtraction. You remove distractions. You remove excuses. You remove weak patterns. And yes, you remove people. Not because you hate them, but because you refuse to stay the same. Fire doesn't care about your feelings. Fire respects action. This is where the world starts reacting to you differently. They feel the shift. You speak less, you explain less, you tolerate less. And that makes them uncomfortable. Because your discipline exposes their lack of it. They'll say you changed. They're right. You had to. Growth is not polite. Transformation is not gentle. If you stayed the same, you would stay trapped. Fire forces separation. You begin to walk alone, not because you want to, but because alignment demands it. You can't carry dead weight into a new life, and loneliness intensifies here. Not the loneliness of rejection, but the loneliness of focus. You don't relate the same. You don't laugh at the same things. You don't waste energy the same way. And that's when doubt creeps in. It asks, is this worth it? Why does this feel so hard? Why does no one understand? Because you are early, and early always feels isolating. Fire doesn't reward immediately. It tests consistency. It asks, will you keep going when no one claps? When no one believes? When progress is invisible? Most won't. They want proof before commitment. Fire demands commitment before proof. This is where identity starts to shift. You stop seeing yourself as someone trying. You become someone building. Building habits, building structure, building standards. And standards change everything. You no longer negotiate with weakness. You don't debate discipline, you execute. Emotion stops driving you. Principle does. And that scares people. Because disciplined people are uncontrollable. They don't respond to pressure. They don't react emotionally. They don't break easily. Fire hardens you, not into something cruel, but into something precise. You learn when to push, when to wait, when to cut ties, when to stay silent. This is where power becomes quiet. No announcements, no validation, just movement. And understand this clearly. Fire is not meant to be comfortable. It is meant to be survived. If you endure this phase, you will never fear pressure again, because you'll know what it does. It strips illusions. It sharpens focus. It kills weakness. And what remains is someone different. Not louder, not arrogant, centered, dangerous in silence. This is the fire, and you are still inside it. Listen carefully, because what I am about to say will offend the version of you that wants to stay comfortable. You don't lack motivation, you lack honesty. You don't need another video. You need to stop lying to yourself about why your life looks the way it looks. Most people don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they are addicted to the illusion that someday, magically, things will change without them changing first. And I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to wake you up. Look at your habits, not your intentions, not your plans. Your habits. Your habits are the receipt of your future. And if you don't like where you're going, it's because, whether you admit it or not, you are choosing it. That's the part people hate hearing, because it removes the victim costume. You see, illusion is comfortable. Illusion says, it's the system, it's my past, it's my parents, it's the economy. But truth says, you repeated the same behaviors and expected a different result. That's not bad luck. That's self-betrayal. Let me be very clear. Your life is not stuck. You are stuck in patterns, and patterns don't break with hope. They break with decisions under pressure. Most people say they want change, but what they really want is relief. They want less pain without more discipline. But growth doesn't negotiate. Growth demands a price, and the price is this. You must become uncomfortable before your life does. Right now, your comfort is killing your future. Comfort is the most dangerous drug on the planet. It doesn't destroy you loudly. It destroys you quietly, day by day, while you tell yourself you're doing okay. You're not doing okay. You're just surviving. And survival is not what you're here for. You were not born to just pay bills and scroll screens and complain in private. You were built for expansion. But expansion requires confrontation. And confrontation starts with this question. Where are you pretending not to see the truth? Is it your discipline? Is it your self-respect? Is it the way you allow people to treat you? Is it the standards you lowered so you wouldn't have to rise? Be honest. Every time you ignore your inner voice, you train yourself to be weaker. Every time you delay what you know must be done, you reinforce the identity that quits. And identity is everything. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your self-image. That's why motivation fades, because motivation can't override identity. You can scream affirmations all day, but if your actions whisper fear, fear wins. The channels you're watching, the speeches you admire, they don't work because of words. They work because someone decided to live by a higher standard and refused to negotiate with their excuses. And here's the brutal truth. No one is coming to save you. Not a mentor, not a relationship, not a miracle. The moment you're waiting for is waiting for you to move first. Pain is not your enemy. Avoidance is. Pain is feedback. Avoidance is decay. If your life feels heavy, it's because you're carrying the weight of decisions you keep postponing. Decide now. Decide that you will no longer betray yourself for comfort. Decide that your word to yourself finally means something. Decide that your standards rise today, not someday. This is not about being perfect. It's about being non-negotiable. When you say you'll do something, do it. When you commit, commit fully. When resistance shows up, push anyway. That's how identity changes. And once identity changes, everything follows. Money follows, confidence follows, respect follows. But none of it comes first. You come first, and if this makes you uncomfortable, good. That's the signal that the illusion is breaking. Stay with the discomfort. Don't run. Don't distract, because on the other side of discomfort is power. And power is earned, not wished for. Stop blaming what didn't break you, because at this point, your excuses are louder than your pain. You've already survived what you claim is holding you back, which means it's no longer trauma. It's permission. Permission to stay small. Permission to stay average. Permission to avoid responsibility while pretending to heal. Let me confront you with something uncomfortable. Healing is not an excuse to stop demanding more from yourself. Healing is not lying down. Healing is standing up with scars and choosing discipline anyway. But most people don't want healing. They want justification. They want a story they can tell themselves that makes stagnation sound noble. And that's the trap. Because the moment you turn your past into a permanent identity, you hand over your future. Your past explains you. It does not excuse you. Read that again. Your past explains you. It does not excuse your lack of action today. At some point, accountability replaces sympathy. And that point is now. No one who wins stays obsessed with what happened to them. They become obsessed with what they are building. Winners don't wake up asking, "Why did this happen to me?" They wake up asking, "What must I do today regardless of how I feel?" That's the difference. Feelings are not commands. They are weather. And if you keep waiting to feel ready, confident, motivated, inspired, you will die with potential still inside you. The world does not reward intention. It rewards execution. You don't get paid for what you know. You get paid for what you apply consistently under pressure. And pressure is not a curse. Pressure is the forge. Pressure is where weak identities collapse and strong ones are built. But you've been running from pressure, avoiding it, numbing it. You scroll, you distract, you delay, and then you wonder why your life feels empty. It's empty because you haven't put anything difficult inside it. You don't feel powerful because you haven't done anything that requires power. Power is built by doing what is hard when it's inconvenient. There is no other way. Let me say this clearly. If your days look easy, your future will be hard. If your days look hard, your future will be free. Comfort now is slavery later. Discipline now is freedom later. Choose. No one is forcing you to rise, but no one is stopping you either. And that's the part people hate the most. There is no villain, there is no enemy. There is only the version of you that keeps negotiating with weakness. You say tomorrow, you say later. You say when things calm down, they never do. Life doesn't get easier, you get stronger, or you stay behind. Every excuse you protect becomes a prison. Every standard you enforce becomes a weapon. Right now, your standards are too low. You tolerate things you should eliminate. You accept behaviors you should correct. You keep doors open that should be closed. Not because you can't change, but because change would demand confrontation. And confrontation scares people who built their identity on comfort. But listen to me. You cannot become powerful without becoming uncomfortable first. Confidence is not built by thinking. It is built by keeping promises to yourself when no one is watching. Self-respect is not an affirmation. It is a record of disciplined actions stacked over time. And right now, your record is mixed. That can change, but only if you stop protecting the excuses that are killing your momentum. Your life will not transform with soft decisions. It will transform with hard lines. Lines you don't cross. Standards you don't negotiate. Rules you don't break. This is where identity shifts. Not in emotion, not in motivation, but in commitment under pressure. Decide who you are when it's hard, because that version of you decides everything. There comes a moment when the enemy is no longer outside of you. It's not the system. It's not people. It's not your past. It's the voice inside your own head. The voice that negotiates. The voice that softens standards. The voice that says, "You deserve rest," when what you really deserve is discipline. This is the real war. And most people lose it quietly. They don't collapse dramatically. They fade. They wake up one day and realize they became exactly what they once swore they'd never be. Not because they failed once, but because they compromised daily. Listen carefully. Your life is not destroyed by one bad decision. It is eroded by 1,000 small ones you justified. You don't fall off track. You step off slowly, while convincing yourself you're still moving forward. That's how mediocrity wins. Not with force, with comfort. And comfort is seductive because it feels harmless. But comfort is the most dangerous drug on earth, because it kills ambition without pain. No alarms, no warnings, just silence. And silence is where dreams go to die. You say you want more, but your habits say otherwise. Your mouth speaks ambition. Your actions whisper excuses. And the world listens to actions. You want confidence? Then stop lying to yourself. You want power? Then stop betraying yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and don't, you weaken your own authority. You teach your mind that your word means nothing, and a person who doesn't trust themselves can never lead themselves. That's why you feel stuck. Not because you lack knowledge, but because you lack self-integrity. Self-integrity is doing what you said you would do, especially when it's uncomfortable, especially when no one is watching, especially when quitting would be easier. This is where most people fold. They wait for motivation, they wait for clarity, they wait for a sign. Let me give you the truth. Clarity comes after action. Motivation comes after movement. Confidence comes after proof. You don't think your way into a new life. You act your way into one. And action requires war. War with excuses. War with laziness. War with the weak version of you that wants safety instead of growth. This is not poetic. This is practical. If you don't create structure, chaos will rule you. If you don't set rules, your emotions will. And emotions are terrible leaders. They panic, they exaggerate, they lie. Discipline doesn't lie. Discipline shows up, discipline executes, discipline doesn't care how you feel. That's why it works. Look at your life right now. Where are you undisciplined? That's where you are powerless. Where do you procrastinate? That's where fear lives. Where do you make excuses? That's where your potential is leaking out. Nothing changes until you confront that honestly. No affirmations, no visualization, no spiritual bypassing. Just truth. Hard, uncomfortable truth. You don't need a new strategy. You need a higher standard. You don't need to find yourself. You need to build yourself. Brick by brick, habit by habit, decision by decision. This is slow, this is repetitive, this is boring. And that's why it works. Extraordinary lives are built on ordinary actions done with ruthless consistency, not intensity. Consistency. Intensity fades. Consistency compounds. And compounding is invisible at first. That's why weak minds quit early. They don't see results fast enough, so they assume nothing is happening. But something is happening. Your identity is forming. Every disciplined action casts a vote for the person you are becoming. Every excuse casts a vote against it. You choose which one wins. No one is coming to save you from this war, because it's internal. And internal wars are won in silence, in the early mornings, in the moments of resistance, in the choices no one applauds. This is where leaders are made, not on stages, not on social media, but alone when it would be easier to quit. Win that moment and you win the day. Win the day and you win the year. Win the year and your life changes permanently. This is the war within, and it doesn't end. You just get stronger. This is where it ends. Not because the war is over, but because you finally stop running from it. There is no finish line. There is no applause waiting. There is only the decision you make when it hurts. You either leave this moment unchanged, or you leave it sharper, colder, more disciplined. No promises, no speeches, just action. Stand up, do the work, and don't explain yourself to anyone.